Oh, what's up?
What's up?
All right, welcome everyone to AlphaISM Radio. I just got some really upsetting news, and man. So let me just start out by saying the Spooky's back in New York, and the airlines have lost his computer.
Jesus.
Let me just put this out there right now. I'm Spooky. I told him to listen in. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. I got something in mind. Still, even though the missing footage and all of that, because I was really looking forward to looking at the Saudi Suite, the tournaments and everything. But don't worry about the computer, because I have something in mind that should help you out tremendously. So, all right. See here. Oh, let me get UltraDavid, my co-host, on the air. Man, I keep on forgetting to do that. I'm not really that. You tell you I've been out of it a while. So let me.
Ooh.
Right,
What's up, guys?
What's going on? Hold on. So again, Spooky, if you're listening right now, don't worry about it. Don't stress. I mean, it's going to stress you out regardless, but don't worry about it. You're not in the lurch.
Does he have like any one of those little portable hard drives or anything like that you can just carry with a carry-on? Or, I mean, damn, all that footage.
I know.
Hindsight
is 2020. But you really don't. Nah, I guess you can't really say that. You really don't expect the airline to lose your computer, right? But I guess you.
I err on the side of caution on that. I probably wouldn't take that with me. I'd either ship it or I'd use a portable solution that I could keep with me.
Yeah. So hold on. Why can I not? Oh. Okay. Let me see. Let me. Let's get him in here.
Too much data.
I'm sorry. Hold on for a second. I'm trying to. It used to be so simple. Every time they go through this. Am I the host of this call? No.
I am. Do you need me?
Yeah. Let me.
Close it out and just invite us both at the same time.
Yeah. And by the way, Bronson, you need to update your Skype.
What?
Yeah.
Give the times, Bronson.
I'll call you guys right back. I'll call you guys right back.
Okay.
All right. Alrighty. So. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Hey.
Alright.
So, let me... And then... Bronson... Trying to invite... I wasn't the host of the call. Okay. Alright, so,
Hey.
There we go.
Okay.
Hey, what's up?
Alright, so, welcome welcome everyone to part 3 of AlphaISM Radio's EVO special. It's nice to be able to reflect on what happened this past weekend. I think that we can say that Evolution was a unqualified success. There were some things that was a little bit disappointing, but all in all, I'm pretty pleased with Evolution. I'm pleased with the turnout, 1,700 people. That's just awesome. That's just.
Hey, wait a minute. Whoa, what the fuck, Neftall? You can't just segregate me like that. What the fuck you think you're doing?
Why are you interrupting me? I'm doing my speech, and you just came out of left field. Now, if you keep
And I'm
gonna
just
put
causing
you
a
on
ruckus today. That's how I do things. You should know this. I'm volatile. Alright, go ahead. Monk, I'm sorry.
You know what? You people like you is why I'm in favor of the Arizona law. You know what I mean? Alrighty. Anyway, I guess we should really talk about what I mean. They dropped a bombshell, and it wasn't Tekken versus Capcom like everyone thought it was going to be or whatever, but Evolution Japan. So, man, I guess it's a little bit early to be asking who's going.
Just a little bit.
Yep. Not me.
Definitely not me.
I don't even go to EVO in Vegas. Why the fuck would I go to Japan?
I mean, I would love to go for the experience. Anything else, going to another country, and on top of that, watching, and just seeing the culture, experiencing the culture. I mean, that would be great. I mean, if I didn't have this thing called a job. I mean.
Yeah. Hey, if I could, I would absolutely go, but there's quite a few things standing in between me and Japan. Not just an ocean. There's a lot more. Job, money.
Yeah, that's the issue.
Yeah, money here.
I just don't feel like going.
Hey, someone mentioned that actually Ono did announce what the new game was, but his translator did not translate for him. Did anybody happen to catch what he announced that his translator did not catch?
He said it was Mad Catz versus Fori. That's what Markman said, so I think that's a joke.
All right.
Okay.
No, I don't know. Does anybody speak Japanese who listens to that and is also listening to us right now?
Well, I speak a little bit, but the problem was Ono was like literally eating the mic, so I couldn't hear really what the hell he was saying.
Well, all right.
I'm asking Sabin because he goes to Japan all the time.
Oh, well, I guess we'll find out in 2 weeks then, I guess.
It's all good.
Yeah, it's not that long to wait.
Yeah, not at all. I know a few people are going out to Comic-Con, so we should find out pretty quickly.
I thought it would be cool if we could talk more about the actual matches in the top 8. I don't know if you guys talked about that after I went to sleep last night, but
no, I went to the typical AlphaISM radio.
Let's talk about the more minor stuff first. Like, let's go in super chronological order so we don't miss anything.
All right.
Oh, what the fuck, then? No, Melty Blood, they really did supremely well. Like, not just from having a good amount of entry and whatnot. Like, the stream did really well. So, kudos to them for that.
Well, the Melty Blood crowd is always incredibly hyped for everything. So, they rival Marvel, the Marvel crowd when it comes to just hype for their own game.
Yeah,
so,
and it was
props to Melty.
Yeah, 10,000 viewers on Ustream alone. You probably double that off the Stickem stream, and that's versus the World Cup finals. That's the big thing. And they'd rather watch Melty Blood than watch the World Cup, which is the most watched, probably going to be the most watched thing in the history of television. Think about it. Know about it.
Unfortunately, I could not see the Melty Blood matches for exactly that reason.
Funny thing you mentioned that, because I was watching the World Cup at the same time. I was watching Melty Blood, and my satellite gave out right before the goal was scored. So,
oh no,
the stream gives out and the finals for EVO Super Street Fighter 4, and my satellite goes out for the goal that was scored in World Cup final. What the hell? I was just cursed all day.
Yeah, I feel bad for you on that. Jeez.
Man. If we're gonna talk about...
So does anybody know enough about Melty to properly talk about what happened there?
They have...
Well,
it has
not.
punch buttons.
Well, Spooky knows quite a bit, doesn't he? I mean, can he get on?
He's a little bit in distress right now because the airlines just lost his computer with all of that footage on it, and that's a $3,000 computer that they lost.
Yeah, Spook's going to get on. I mean, if anything, him talking about all the hype for his game and whatnot might help ease his mind a little. Yeah, he's going to pop on, but let's move on. What came on after Melty while we wait for Spook?
Wasn't
I
it?
was sleeping.
Was it TVC or was it... Yeah, it was TVC after HDR. TVC was ridiculously hype.
That went crazy. Like they built it up so well. Like it started like a little bit, and then it like rose to a fever pitch in the finals. Really worked out well.
Oh, we're being told that Marvel happened after Melty, but let's be honest.
I keep no shit. Ignore him. he is right. Now that I think about it, because remember there's the whole Keats thing.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about the Keats thing when it comes to TVC, but...
Okay, because I want to know, because I don't know what the hell you guys are talking about, but, you know.
We'll talk about it when we start talking about TVC,
we'll in a bit. Well, let's talk about Marvel. I think that's really like the best send-off they could have had. Like, that was a fucking high tournament.
The circle's
actually, the only thing that would have made Marvel better is if Clockwork had won. That would have been the perfect thing. Like, finally, Strider actually beats your typical scrub team, but it happens.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool because he, you know, because I mean, I watched some of the stuff he did, and some of the stuff he did was just pretty, you know, was really off the hook, and you know, and it's interesting that the final year for Marvel is the first year of it being not on the Dreamcast.
I mean, I haven't played much of Marvel on 360 or PS3. What does anybody know what kind of differences there are, or is there any type of difference?
Yeah, there's. I mean, it's about. No, they got it right. It's about 92% faithful to the original. Magneto has Magneto's timing is different on some of his infinites, and Blackheart is a little bit better, although they didn't really specify what happened. Maybe it had something to do with his infinite. And let's see, and I'm trying to think here. Some of the glitches they fixed, but I can't remember. There's some more differences, but it's very small though. It's very small, and only the Magneto one you will notice in a normal match, but you know it. I was kind of impressed at how quickly that the American players. Well, I mean, there's nothing but American players in Marvel, right? I mean, mostly.
Right.
So they using TE sticks for Marvel when Marvel is usually something a HAP setup or American sticks 8 ways.
Well, except for Clockwork, because Clockwork was using his old school MOS. So.
I didn't know that they did PS3. Wow.
I mean, with the Cthulhu, you could probably modify a MOS without much of an issue, so...
Man, I'm sorry, man. When I go to MOSsystems.com, man, it looks like something that someone's doing in their garage, man. I know they're supposed to be,
Well, I know it was for at least a while.
And maybe it still is. I mean...
Yeah, I mean, like when I got my MAS stick in, I don't know, 03 maybe, yeah, it was some dude's house. So.
Oh, goodness.
Yeah.
Wow, it's literally ran from oh my gosh, that scares me, man. It just reminds me, me and my Star Wars references. This reminds me when Luke first landed on that planet that Yoda was on, Dagobah, yeah, and then he told me, hey, I need that back. I need to get out of this mud hole, my home. This is, I'm like, man, so how could someone run? I guess. Especially how many orders that they took probably back when Marvel really shot off. Man, I have to give it to them. I mean, to pull that off in your garage.
I mean, really, how hard could it be? I mean, you're taking you take a few sheets of plywood or particle board, and you're just basically cutting everything to the exact same size, you know, using a laminate printer or something like that to print off the artwork, you know, buttons and everything like that, easy as hell to install. I mean, you know, it can't be that incredibly difficult to build build a stick up from the beginning. I mean,
Yeah, but you look
shit.
at the
it's
configuration
not.
options. It's not like that every stick is a clone of the one before it. Man, I'm like, man, doing all those
Well, I
wiring
mean, if you
and
look
all
inside
that.
the insides of Moss sticks, they were often a little bit different. They were put together with there was like hot glue in there and stuff. So, yeah, it wasn't exactly factory made.
Yeah, you weren't exactly getting like quick disconnects and stuff like
Right.
that. It was basically the most efficient and quickest way of getting it done, which is why sometimes MOS sticks would have a bit of an issue when it came to failing. You know, with cherry switches and everything like that, you had to quickly switch everything out and whatnot. I mean, I had one years ago, and that thing had constant problems. So,
Well, so
Yeah.
what did you guys think about Justin taking it today? Or not today, but
Taking what?
Sunday,
Wait, taking what
as
today?
opposed to Saturday when he was eliminated. I mean, I thought it was a good way to come back after his disappointment in Super.
Yeah, I mean, he was not pulling any punches in Marvel.
Fucking around.
He was not messing around. He took everybody out and just said, enough is enough.
I think that loss is kind of similar to when it's kind of a more of a mixed martial arts thing, like when George St. Pierre lost to Matt Serra, which wasn't really supposed to happen. It kind of seems similar to that. And what happened after that is basically GSP came back, bodied Serra, and just started ganking everybody. It's all over again, but it's even more dominant fashion. So I think that's what's going to happen here. I think that kind of humbled him a bit, and it kind of really pissed him off. To be perfectly
Yeah,
Well, hopefully,
I
but-
definitely agree. I'm looking forward to seeing Justin starting to work a lot more, practice a lot more, meet up with players in SoCal a lot more. I think it'll be really good.
I mean, at the same time, let me just say this one thing.
I
Ben,
just want to
before-
welcome Spooky to the stream.
Whoa.
Hey, Spooky, what's going on, man? It's good to hear.
Oh, okay.
What's up, guys? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah,
Yes.
man.
Yeah,
okay.
what's up,
You sound
Is it
fine,
loud or
man.
is it quiet?
Spooky,
Not
man,
loud.
I want to say
It's
right
loud.
quick, just in case you didn't hear me before,
Uh-huh.
don't worry about the computer.
Yeah, Arturo hit me up and he was like, we're all going over it. We're trying to figure out what we're going to do because the footage is backed up. I gave it to Gutex on a hard drive.
Oh,
But,
nice. Okay. Don't worry about
Excellent.
the physical. Well, all I need, though, is I just need the specs of your computer.
all right, I'll hit you up at some point and I'll give you everything. I'll give you exactly what I bought. I have like the Newegg receipt for all the parts when I got them, which was like less than 2 months ago or something like that.
Oh, excellent. Okay. Cool, man. Hey, we were just reviewing about, the matches that took place yesterday and the day before. And, okay, we don't have a resident Melty Blood expert. So there won't be any dead air. Can you tell
Yes,
us what you
exactly.
thought of Melty Blood?
Oh no, there is dead air.
Spooky?
Did we lose him?
No, he still stays connected.
Spook.
Spooky.
He's offended that we only brought him on for this purpose.
He felt like he was.
Oh, I think he just dropped off.
What's going on?
Yeah, he just dropped off.
His mic died. Oh.
Yeah, but while you getting back, as you guys were mentioning with Justin, you also got to point out there is a specific difference between Marvel and Super. Super came out for 10 months. Marvel's been out for 10 years. There's not a whole lot of new stuff that's got to be introduced in Marvel, if anything, that Justin has on lock. But there's a whole lot of new and interesting people and techniques and everything else that we can see coming out of Super that he doesn't quite know yet. So it's all foreign territory to him, just like it is to us. So hopefully he does get better and work himself over.
Justin, I think the issue with Justin is that in Super, the competition is as fierce as Marvel was, back in its heyday. and he admitted that he doesn't practice regularly. You know, he's a lazy top player, and I think that he thought that his talents will compensate for the lack of practicing, and it didn't. And you know, but that's to be expected. You know, I mean, everyone is gunning for you. I mean, no team. I mean, if you're a football fan, you know, all you gotta do is go back to the Patriots. Yeah, I mean, hey man, you can have that great run and all, but if you don't come that day to play, and you know, and you start making stupid mistakes, like I still think that Super Bowl loss was Belichick's fault. He went for it on 4th down when the game was not. I mean, it was like in the first half. Not really anything that's like really crucial to winning the game. We went for it on 4th down and got stopped. That was 3 points. That was the difference in the game.
I think it was more his arrogance.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. It was
I don't think
arrogance,
Justin was really
you know.
too arrogant. I just think that he got
not arrogance, but he was overconfident though.
Something he shouldn't have.
You know, he was overconfident though because he thought that he could win, you know, without practicing as hard as some other people have. You know, and I think that sort of had a point, you know, and not knowing the matchup obviously hurt as well, and also he was mentally broke. I think
Right, not knowing
with being,
that was it. After that, anyone could have beaten him.
Well, I mean, he obviously didn't know the Adon matchup very well. You can definitely see that. And I think that's a really good point, Chindogg, that whereas in Marvel he knows everything, and it's not that hard for him to pick it back up because he already has everything at his command. In Super, like you said, I mean, this is the first good Adon that he's faced.
right. And there you go, and that's exactly what happened, really, you know. And he doesn't know the game is still rapidly evolving. And Spooky, you there?
He's still hiding.
Okay.
He's audio shy.
We don't hear you yet, but just keep on working on it. But yeah, I mean, the game is rapidly evolving, and yeah, you're right. He doesn't know everything, and so it really kind of caught up with him, and you know, and I mean that really should put all of the top players on notice. That, you know, because I know a lot of people think that, you know, we don't match up to Japan, you know, but there's also the thinking that, you know, below Japan is us, you know, where the U.S. owns it. But then we just found out, not really, you know, we got serious competition in Taiwan and in Korea, you know, and in France, you know, so, you know, we can also be victims of that, you know, and realize that everyone is stepping it up. Everyone is stepping it up, and we need to do the same now, especially since evolution technically is not over yet. So we need to, you know, if I was Justin, if I was the players that made top 32, I would tell them if they're planning on attending evolution, they need to hit it hard for the next 10 weeks.
So while we wait for Spooky, what did you guys think about TVC?
Fucking hype as hell.
It was,
To be quite
yeah.
honest, I feel that it was the top 8 of EVO. Just in hype and just in crazy shit happening. I mean, top 8 in Super Street Fighter 4, very awesome. Melty, awesome. But TVC was just, and this isn't just because I'm a TVC guy, but the hype and just out of nowhereness of how some of those games went out. Like both games, both times that Marn and K-Beast faced each other, absolutely fantastic. The match between Justin and Keats was great, and then seeing Justin and Marn was so weird because
that was surreal as hell.
That was great.
It seemed like
really
Justin was giving up by picking Karis, and then he just almost engineered that back.
You know what? That goes back to our argument earlier that Justin doesn't play these games. You know, he's been incredibly lazy, and he thought it was free money because he's Justin Wong. So he hasn't played this game since Cross Generation of Heroes. He hasn't played the new version yet. I mean,
Right, if I understand correctly, Karis was good before, but is not now? Is that it?
Karis was the definitive #1 in the original game because you can literally lock a guy down totally and go completely into infinite from about half screen because his sword had such distance. In this game, he has a few properties that changed and greatly, greatly diminished his power. So yeah, he's not even.
So you think that that's a big reason why Justin picked him, because he was familiar with him from before, but having not practiced lately, he wasn't aware of the changes.
Because the game's changed. Because all the differences between Ultimate All-Stars and Cross-Generation Heroes, the game's completely changed. And so you can definitely tell that he has not played a game since. I mean, he deliberately skipped out of Midwest Championships because Keats wouldn't ban the Giants. And I don't think he's played in a TVC tournament since that quote-unquote invitational in at EVO last year that wasn't even, I think, just became a side tournament. So he really has not played since the new version came out, and he was just trying to get by being Justin, and obviously that's what caught him. And I think he mentally just didn't really care because he figured Marn had it, so whatever, might as well support the team. But to me, just seeing him pick Karos, just basically really, really showed me how
out of touch.
Yeah, exactly. How out of touch and how inept he was in the current TVC scene. And that's the big thing, is you see a lot of these guys make a lot of complaints about TVC and how it's a terrible game and whatnot, but have terrible misinformation because they never played the damn thing. They go by what Justin says or goes by what someone else says.
But the game is terrible.
They don't even realize that there's a new version that came out when it came to the States that no one ever played, no one ever tried out, so except for the TVC guys.
But the game is terrible because I've never played it and I know it's horrible.
I like it less.
Wow.
That's
I'm being facetious, and obviously, you know what? But I will say this much: I seriously, if the game was on the PS3 or X360, and I now have both, I would have gotten the game a long time ago. I mean, I just could not bring myself to buy an entire system for one game. I just couldn't.
I also want to mention quickly that some of the TVC guys like Premium and KBeast and Cross and whatnot, they're going to actually be starting to make a TVC podcast coming up here, so stay tuned for details on that. That way, for you guys who want to get into Marvel 3, you can get in by playing TVC and understanding the basics of that, as well as integrating your Marvel 2 experience, because that's what Marvel 3 is going to be. It's going to be Marvel 2 and TVC put together, so you might as well have experience playing both games.
Right. I think that, not to change subjects too much, but since it's related, I am, after taking another look at Marvel 3, the Evolution build, it is shaping up to be I think it's going to be a really good game when they get done with it.
Do we want to talk about Marvel now, or do we want to talk about HD Remix and all that?
I guess we can talk about HD Remix. We can leave Marvel 3 next to last behind, for Super Street Fighter 4.
Yeah.
HD Remix, I did watch that. Of course, the most hypest match for me was Cole versus Diago. I'm being from the Northwest, I gotta represent, right? So, Jason Cole did a great job, and so that was fun. That was really fun to watch, and I don't know what it is for you guys, but that was the hypest match for me.
Yeah, for me, this was the best top 8 other than Super, and it is because I'm a Super Turbo. Well, I guess now I'm an HD Remix player. Almost went back a couple years there. But yeah, no, I thought it was great. I love Jason Cole's Dawson. It's great to see that he's back on top after a few years of not doing as well as he had in previous EVOs. I thought that he did really well, especially because there's lots of changes to the game. I don't know how much he's been playing it in the last year. I know a lot of people have taken time off from the scene, and no, I thought he was great.
I personally enjoyed watching Cole take on Afro Legends, just on the fact that you have the old school ST crowd, Legend himself, going up against the new breed, one of VIA's students. This guy's storming out, and seeing, this is probably why you like it so much, Dave, is because a Geeve player won.
Yeah.
What the hell's going on there?
Well, it's actually not that weird. I personally am not a big fan of the Geeve changes, but they did make him into a very good character, and you could see that. But at the same time, even though Snake Eyes did really well, but most of his matches were favorable, which is a big change for Zangief. He had a couple against Ryu. He had one against Afro Legends Balrog, which, by the way, Afro Legends' choice of Balrog instead of DJ against Geeve is my choice for what the fuck moment of Sunday, because it's the difference between a match that Zangief wins versus a match that Afro Legends wins, and Afro knows that, and he's a great DJ player. I was really surprised, and I know a lot of other people were too, that he went with Balrog.
So should we talk about the mirror match between Diago and Afro Legends?
Daigo and DGV?
No, Afro Legends. Daigo and Afro
No,
Legends.
the ROG matchup.
The ROG matchup, right?
Yeah. That was really surprising. I mean, that must have made Alex Valle pretty, his apprentice beats Daigo, in Super Turbo remix. So, I mean,
and it was destruction too. If I recall correctly, I think it was 4 straight rounds.
Yeah,
it was 4 straight rounds.
Yeah, and
with the last round being a perfect, actually.
Perfect, yeah. That was really surprising. Balrog is a character who has not been changed that much. It's really only differences in damage and in throw range, and his jab headbutt is a little more unsafe. But very similar character, and for Daigo to lose that badly, I thought was pretty surprising. I also thought it was surprising that he didn't go with Ryu after having lost the first game.
The interesting thing was just seeing Afro Legends, jump, throw, jump, throw. I mean, he literally bounced up and down.
Yeah, in the last round there.
Jesus.
Yeah, no, I mean, Daigo was. I doubt that it was that Daigo couldn't reversal throw. I don't think that was the problem. I think it was just that Daigo didn't think that Afro Legends would go for throw that many times in a row. It's kind of like what happened in Super. I believe it was GamerB threw Mike Ross 5 times in a row. And it's just, sometimes you're not guessing right, and I think that was the case with Daigo.
Well, the option select was pretty cool, with GamerB Sedan.
Well, right.
Yeah,
I mean, Mike didn't.
That was really nice. Not to get into Super Street Fighter 4, but that was definitely nice. Yeah, that was good.
I was happy to see that Tokido didn't do as well as he has in previous years here. That was really nice. I guess probably largely because of the Vega changes. But.
Did he get higher than 4th in any game?
I thought he scored pretty high in Tekken.
Yeah, I don't think he got higher than 4th, but he was in almost every game.
Right.
He was placing high in almost everything. So.
Yeah, I'm looking at the list here. He got 5th in Tekken, he got 5th in Remix, and he got 13th in Super.
That's pretty beastly, I'd say.
That is pretty beastly, but at least he didn't cue ball his way to victory in SF2 this time.
Someone sounds a little salty.
A little. But congratulations to Snake Eyes for taking that Zangief versus Vega match. That's a little bit better for Geeve, but it's still pretty bad. And he did really well to limit Tokido's claw, the down medium punch stand,
right.
Medium kick, pressure, footsies, and keep away. He guessed right more than a few times in his meaty pressure. He used that great new Crouching Fierce to beat the wall dive. I think that was for the win, or maybe that was for to win one of the rounds. So yeah, he played really well. I thought that was great.
And
Next up for that, I think it was
All
the
right.
women's tournament, which was next, or was it after Tekken?
Yeah.
I'm not certain.
Well, we haven't talked about the women's yet. So.
It was Tekken then the women's tournament.
Okay, let's
Okay.
talk about Tekken then.
okay,
Okay.
I'm gonna go do some laundry. Go ahead and talk about Tekken 6.
All right.
Anyone want to start off? Because I got
don't know
lots of.
anything about it, dude. So go ahead.
Okay. Commentators were terrible. Biased as shit. I don't ever want to have them commentate again. Next point. The match is far too damn long. 2 hours for Tekken? That don't work for me. You gotta shorten it somehow. You gotta do it. Besides that, it was
2 out of 3.
really.
They should have made the rounds 2 out of 3.
The 3 out of 5 is just way too much for Tekken.
Yeah.
That's just the way Tekken plays, though. Is like I was making fun of it in stream chat where it's literally two guys back up, then they come forward, then they back up, then they come forward, and then someone might poke out a jab or something like that just to get launch, and then juggle, 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 bounce, juggle, 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 wall, juggle, juggle,
Fall to the
KO.
floor.
I mean, that's
Juggle.
That's it.
He bearded guy, because the bearded guy was good on commentary, but he was like kind of
Eris.
Eris.
Yeah, I really liked Eris. I actually watched Tekken, or I had Tekken on in the background and was doing something else because I just like listening to him talk.
Yeah.
I thought he was actually a pretty good
He was
commentator.
like surrounded by like 2 douchebags. So it just didn't work. Don't like that.
Eris has always been an incredibly good commentator. He actually kind of reminds me of the new guy, Commentator John, where he will bring out random insights and factoids and whatnot for the game. That was actually really nice to have because you had a solid play-by-play and solid color commentary based on things that were going on with the Tekken world, and it was actually it made it interesting to watch and almost make me want to play Tekken. So almost Tekken is just not my game, but Eris is arguably one of the better commentators. I'm not sure who you would rank as the best commentator. We can all agree that Sessler was the worst, but Eris is definitely top 3.
Yeah,
I like
Eris
it,
is
like,
great. My personal vote for best commentator is Ken Bogard from France, but he wasn't there.
I was talking to at EVO.
He wasn't there.
Yeah.
So, but one of the I guess the one thing I like about Eris is that he tells it like it is. I think I forgot what tournament I was watching. It was some Tekken 6 tournament, and he was blowing up the lag on the TVs. I was like, dude, he was like, man, this is BS, man. Fix the damn TVs,
He was actually in an article on Joystick, and they didn't know who his name was, so they just called him Epic Beard Man. And I thought that was the funniest damn thing ever.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah,
But since, props to Nin for winning Tekken, even though that seems to be a guarantee.
Right, not surprising.
He seems to be like the heel of Tekken. All he does is talk shit in Korean over and over again, and all it does is piss off people over and over again.
Smelling his controller, that's really creepy. Don't do that.
I think that was Rip.
Whoa, hold on. What did you say?
Yeah, that was Rip.
Doing what?
He has this thing where before every round he puts his face up to his controller before every game.
Like kissing it?
Whatever, man. He got second place at EVO.
He did get second place, but it's bad enough that he looks like the dude from Community. Don't make it worse.
Hold on for a second. Okay, who wants to play me in Super?
I'll play in Super. Okay.
Hey, wait. Why don't you guys create an endless and then I'll join you?
I just got punched in the face by the photo again.
I heard a nice KO there in the background.
It was on me, you fuck. It was not a nice KO. I'm putting it on mute now. How dare you?
All right, so not much insight into Tekken, I guess.
Unfortunately not.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's not insight. That's in blind. Yeah. Okay. Go ahead.
All right.
unfortunately,
how about the women's Super 4 tournament then?
Best tournament ever. No.
Dude.
It did really well. They got a lot of entries, which is always good.
there was
Play
some
it.
drama. There was some drama too. Apparently, Bison Girl.
Bitch
Bot.
or something.
bodied Sherry Jenks, and Sherry walked off, and Bison Girl told her to shake. I think it was something along the lines of "shake my hand, bitch," and then there was a standoff.
Who does that? That's
Break up.
fucking rude. Like, that's just common sense.
See, that's the thing, man. Women are just as vicious in competition as men are. I mean,
You have to add the
talking about
fact
being
that out of
salty
the
after a
force.
loss. Nothing. This is, man. That's why I think the Women's Invitational was a great idea, because you know what? Even if it's not, even if the play isn't, you know, top notch, but man, the drama that ensues, you get the popcorn.
Get the popcorn.
No,
Yeah,
but some
I'm
of those
still not
women
very happy about it.
some of those women played incredibly well, though. You know, like Kayane was playing fantastic.
I couldn't beat
Bernie,
Kayane. I'm
big
gonna
fucking surprise.
Well, I can't beat her in Super Street Fighter 4. I can beat her in other ways. But you know,
What's wrong with you?
Boo.
Boo.
Yes.
We do not support misogynism up in here.
Yeah,
you get
Kayane
your mind out
was all right.
brother. I was talking about Tetris.
What?
Yeah, sure.
Sure, creep.
Yeah, I mean, Kayane seemed like she knew what was going on, and like the top several or whatever knew what was going on for sure. But
She played better against the
just-
men than she did against the women. When I was watching her match in the SSF4 tournament, I mean, she was.
yeah, she was good. I mean, well, she was, you know, she's one of the better people who showed up to the main tournament for sure.
Okay, now burn your bra. Now, mind you, I am black. All right.
All right, I don't like where this is going.
I already know where this is going,
okay,
so let's just carry it.
Yeah, I think I have a good idea too.
I mean,
Let's just skip
I can
past that
see,
point.
I can see. Let me put it this way. I'm gonna put it nice. I can see why she plays video games.
Damn, that's cold.
I'm just saying though. You know, yeah, she looked like a shaped Chewbacca, but still, I mean.
What I want to know is how how a man got into the finals of the Women's Invitation. That's what I want to know. I do not approve. Yeah, that's
Man,
fucked up.
you guys are fucked up. Man. That's
yeah,
just
man, come on.
I mean, come on now. I mean, people going nuts in the chats. I mean, come on now. You know, I mean, it's got to be a cold day outside, you know, before you know, you have me. I'm just saying, she did great. I mean, she could play Super Street Fighter 4 better than I can, so who am I to talk? But I'm just saying that, you know.
Come on.
That's all I'm saying. Go ahead.
She had a
Yeah,
pretty
so-
ridiculous con, man. I'm not gonna lie.
This is one of the reasons that I think this tournament was basically a failure from the get-go. Every time somebody talks about it, it's this kind of stuff. Like, very few people are willing to treat it like a serious fighting game competition, and I don't think that's surprising. I kind of think that that the way that EVO did it lends itself to that. Like, by setting the women aside, I felt like they made them into like a circus act or like a sideshow or something. Like,
Or like
come
a
see the
side
people.
tournament.
What?
Or like a side tournament, which is what it was.
Well, no, I mean it was, but the point of it was to try to make women feel more included. But I think that the real result of it
I think Keats
was to
ruined
make them do
everything
the opposite.
in gender science.
Yeah, Keats didn't help there. He shouldn't have done that.
Keats should stop talking around females. It'd be a good idea.
Oh, man, not.
Yeah, I'd really like for the women's tournament to not show up again. Like, as far as I know, it didn't bring in many women who would not have otherwise played at EVO anyway. And I don't think that it did anything to help the scene in terms of getting over its, like, misogynism and treating women like a sideshow.
Well,
Like,
you
how
know
much
what?
for that? I really liked it. It was.
I got
kinda
an email
great
from somebody
sense.
that said that instead of doing the women's invitational next year, that we should do one for homeless African people, and then the prize is a bowl of rice.
Wow.
I'm like, thank you for this wonderful idea, and you owe me
Oh,
20
yeah,
bucks
the
for
Keats
mentioning
video.
it.
Let's not talk about that now. Wow, go. Someone link that up. It's important.
And by the way, that person, you know who it is. You owe me $20 for reading it on the air. You got my PayPal details.
Hey, I mean, I kind of agree. I'd like to see another tournament, a side tournament for underrepresented people. I look forward to placing in top 3 of the Jews only tournament next year.
We should do a fatties tournament.
Oh my
And
god.
then like weight loss tournament.
Terrible guys. You guys are all fucking
Man,
awful.
you know what? You
No,
know
man,
what?
but
could
I
see something
think
like
that's-
that. And the prize would be like a Safeway coupon, or 2 for 1 for Thai bleach or something. I mean, I really, yeah, I can see that. All right, go ahead.
No, but I think it's like a legit comparison. Like you have 2 groups, Jews and women, who are not any worse at Street Fighter than anybody else. But they have a side tournament because they're underrepresented to try to get more of them to come. It didn't work for the women, and I don't see why it would work for my group either.
So if we do a Jew tournament, does it mean that we have to
Well,
like?
you're
do
not
it-
talking about this Jew tournament.
Well,
Yeah.
I'm just saying that you have to do it over 8 days, you know, for like.
No, we are not talking about this tournament.
Okay, I was just asking. Jeez.
And Bronson, your lag is absolutely terrible.
I know.
Like, beyond horrible.
Terrible. I'm pissed. You can feel it in my voice. But no, it's really fucked up. So let's stop for now, because that ain't how it works.
Okay, fair enough.
All right.
'Cause I don't want to play like that. If we're both like handicapped like that, it's kind of gay. But yeah. One last thing about the women's invitational, I like the commentary team there the best because like there's Keith and Ski. Like besides the whole awkward moments thing, Sherry knows enough about the game to give insight, but she also knows enough of the players to give insight into that and put more emotion into it and say "oh no" a lot. But it really was like a good, I guess, chemistry between the two. Like there was some dead air, but there was a lot less than there usually is, and it was everything was flowing.
Just to mention, like Sherry's commentary to begin with. I mean, she doesn't have a whole lot of experience doing commentary at all, but
Yeah.
for what she did was actually pretty solid. You know, with given a little bit more time and a little more experience, maybe doing some side commentary for Wednesday night fights or something like that. Locally, she can get more experience and bring it out. And let's be honest, she is kind of a what's the word for an attraction, I guess, for stream monsters to watch her for some odd reason. So
I'm just gonna say what's on everyone's mind. All right, Sherry, I don't mean this to offend you or anything like that, but
He probably
where's your damn sex tape with
Yeah.
Mike Ross? I mean, I'm just putting it out there. Come on, I mean, it's
What
been
the
a few
fuck?
months now. I mean, come on, where is it now? Where is it? I mean, okay, I just want to know. Okay, you guys can go ahead.
Yeah,
a
well,
little palm
you
and
ruined
white
everything.
face.
You ruined all the goodwill that we were building up about that, and you're like, oh, here's a random sexist comment.
It is not a sexist comment.
Really,
It is
Yeah.
not.
really.
I was just asking where was it? I mean,
You
I'm
were
tired
asking
of
a question.
waiting.
That's all you were doing.
All right. Enough talking about the women's tournament because
Right.
obviously we can't keep
There's
a
nothing
halfway
constructive
decent
that's gonna
conversation for long, like 5 minutes. So I guess we'll talk about what the Marvel
We'll come
3
back to that later.
Let's
exhibition
talk
then.
about the exhibition for Marvel 3.
Right.
That was the lead up. Okay. Important thing here. Sessler was good on this. Sessler was really good on commentary on this.
I totally agree.
don't get twisted.
I fully agree as well.
Because like the whole point of the exhibition is to get new people to the game, and he did it absolutely perfectly. He was setting up Seth for all the questions on all the new mechanics of the. Shut the fuck up, Burnout! Don't make me hurt you. No, but that was a good flow there. It worked really well. Yeah, I meant the Marvel 3 thing, dumbass. And then play was good. Keith playing the win was pretty funny, and he still can't win off that. He can't even win an exhibition when he's playing a win. Just know that out there.
Man, that's a lot
Yeah,
of cruelty
blow it up.
towards Keats, man.
Yeah, dude.
He's been mad salty to Ski, and I can't have that.
Okay, can I have the story?
No,
now?
he wasn't, dude.
Can I have the story? What's
I
going
know
on?
he wasn't. He really wasn't. It's alright.
Can I? What is this link that Atomic TC keeps on posting in the chat?
It's important. Click it and play it.
It's basically
So,
it was
check
heard
it out.
it was heard off.
all the Giants players are out. We got straight action after this.
Yeah, they should have played Giants. Yes.
All right, hang on 1 second.
We're doing a stick switch.
Take point on me. You took point on Marvel. I know. You're doing a lot of commentary. I'm only saying. All right, okay. This is my game. All right.
Damn!
Yo!
What the hell, man? Let me get this Hold on for a sec.
No, here's what the actual context of that is. It's not like he's kicking him off commentary. He's saving Ski's voice, because Ski was doing a lot of commentary over the weekend. That's why he took point on TVC. But the clip is still funny as shit. So it doesn't even matter.
Yeah, there's no ill will and whatnot. The problem is when you keep bringing it up like that, a bunch of the scrubs that don't know what's going on take that to heart and think that Keats is just like this overbearing asshole that wants to be the center of attention for everything. And, you know.
That is not true. All I told him was that he was an overbearing asshole that wants to be the center of everything.
Yeah, but I say he's not. That's news to me.
No. I'm gonna troll him the next time I talk to him.
Oh, he's still getting trolled. He's getting trolled for that, and he's getting trolled because he didn't play Gold Lightan. I'll let Ski off the hook for that, but freaking Keats had the tie on. You have the tie on. You troll Ski so he doesn't do it when you're talking to him and when his opponent's like 5 feet away, but you don't do it. You don't do it even though you played him for ages. You disgust me. It's just like I can't process. Can't do it. And that's my rant on Keats.
Yeah.
So
All right,
Marvel 3.
Yeah, back to Marvel 3.
So Rai, I don't know how the hell he came up with that name. So Rai wins that one, so he'll get the very first Marvel 3 coming off the presses. Congratulations to him.
What do you guys think of like the combos that they're banging up?
I was really excited to see something as simple and crazy as Rai was doing with Iron Man and Hulk.
Yeah,
Iron Man busting out Proton Cannon, getting Keats into the corner, and then using Hulk to do the Earth Shatter move where the stones come from the top and just finish him off.
I'm in the cannon. That's nice. Oh yeah.
And then let's not forget about the aimable.
Shinku.
Yeah, Shinku Hadouken by Ryu.
I marked out for that. I was like, oh shit. What else? Deadpool looks fun. Chris Redfield looks like Cable.
Yeah, Chris Redfield looked really interesting to me. Like I love that. Like it looks like he has a nice keep away game. I love that jump shotgun. That looks hot.
Have you guys?
Oh god, that shotgun. We talked about that last night, I think. But I was like, get off that.
Two or three blasts automatically does dizzy. So
right, that's awesome.
I think that makes sense because it's a shotgun to the chest. So
have you guys seen his level 3 yet?
No.
Deadpool.
No. I'm posting it in Ustream chat right now and on IRC. Basically, what it is he pulls out his Nikita homing missile launcher, and you can guide three missile shots.
That's it.
Like a target receptor shows up, and you can
move the
receptor around.
Oh yeah, check that out. That's really cool.
Damn. And then Iron Man was like that. That was pretty cool. That one was pretty beastly.
The Iron Man level 3 was by far the coolest one I've seen so far. No. Actually, Deadpool's level 3 is by far the best one.
I still haven't seen that one.
The Deadpool
you haven't seen
one?
that one yet?
No.
Link it up. Do it.
All right, hang on 1 second.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to playing Hulk. You know, like I always like to pick the big dude, and Hulk looked really effective. Like at least in this build. I don't know how he'll end up, but he looked really good. I really liked his like easy combo into super. It looked like a great, very useful thing.
Yeah, like he can combo into super, and then he can after he does his super, he can do a switch out, and then pretty much you can switch out pretty much any character with a projectile super. It's pretty nice. Oh yeah, Dante is dead stupid. Everyone's
You're looking at that level 3.
Yeah.
Where he jumps up in the air and grabs his life bar and then
Grabs
his
his
tomahawk
super
chops the
bar.
dude
Oh
with
my
it,
God.
and then picks up the super meter bar and then smacks the guy with it. Oh my god, that's so awesome.
Yeah, apparently
But,
they put
yeah.
a ton of effort into Deadpool, which makes me happy because it's his time to shine.
You know, what I like about Marvel vs. Capcom 3, that's something that really does not really, I think that Marvel 2 could use more of, is that Deadpool, the personality of Deadpool is probably more than half of the cast in Marvel 2.
Oh yeah,
You know, and so
Yes.
I mean, you know, the moonwalk and the crazy. I mean, because you know what, I know a lot of people are thinking it's over the top, but it should be over the top because
that's how Deadpool is. That's all he does.
right, it's faithful to the character, but also remember this is still a business, and you still got to get. I mean, if we all buy it, that's not going to do a whole lot for Capcom. If it's just a hardcore community,
Deadpool's like a
that buys
pretty
it.
popular cult character.
Right.
Yeah,
so
Deadpool
I'm
is an
hoping that,
incredibly well-known character, so
On a practical side, I'm kind of sad to see that level 3 is just a counter super.
Yeah, that
so
was weird.
look at it on YouTube because you're not going to be able to see it in actual match play very often.
Yeah,
well, maybe they might change it around or something like that,
Right.
make it
I
more
don't think
along the
they'll
lines
change
of.
it.
Ooh.
it was weird.
Actually, maybe it depends on the mechanics though, because counter supers actually work pretty well in TVC. Like as soon as the flash comes, it doesn't matter what happens. You're gonna get hit by it. You can't jump at. You know,
Oh,
you
okay.
can't just
So it's
cancel your
also a
attack
grab?
and whatnot. It's not really a grab, but if you throw anything out and they call super, it's not like in Super Street Fighter 4 where the only way you're going to get a counter attack, counter super off is if they're like, doing a jump kick or a hurricane kick or something like that. It's basically if you throw anything out and it's stuck out there and they activate as it's coming out and about ready to hit, it's going to hit. They can't avoid it whatsoever. They can't cancel. They can't do anything. It's going to happen. So, and especially in a game like this that revolves around attacking so much and constant rush down, I could see this being an incredibly viable game, a viable counter if it's done right. Now,
I hope that's
if they
true.
if they adjust it and there's some type of delay like it is in 4, it's going to be totally useless. And you never know. They might even change it to something like a grab where he pistol whips a guy or something like that and then activates. I don't know, but it's still incredibly cool. Have you guys seen Felicia's and
No.
Felicia's is the same as her, the one where she gets like all the different cats to beat the crap out of it. Final Justice is level 3 for Captain America. The cool one that I think is really nice is with Morgan's. Morgan's, she still does where she summons a duplicate and beats it up. But the thing is that was really interesting was that in the video I saw, the opponent called out Captain America's assist who did a shield slash, and the shield slash went right through her. So it's almost got, to me it looks like it's got invincible properties. Like there's no way to stop it from coming. It's coming at you. So
You're gonna eat it no matter what.
you're going to eat it no matter what, unless you jump out of the way or something like that. Like if you try to counter it whatsoever, you're going to eat it. I'm really interested to see if you can like counter super it or something like that.
Interesting.
But seeing that early on, to me it looks like it's invincible all the way through. Kind of like how Gamma Crush is invincible on the way up. Actually, I think it's invincible all the way through, now that I remember correctly. Even though it doesn't hit on the way up, which makes it incredibly lame. I hope they do change that.
So on IRC, T-Burnout's saying that after a certain amount of hits, the hit stun drops to 0. Is that the case?
Mm-hmm.
So it's
Yes.
Purposely built
It's like
in
TVC.
to beat infinites. Oh, is TVC like that too? I didn't know.
TVC is like that too, where the hit stun will drop out rather than damage scaling, which is lame as hell.
Is there also damage scaling?
There is some, but it's not as significantly bad as Super Street Fighter 4 is. So there is
so I
there
guess
is. And with scaling in TVC, if you do DHC or aerial rave scale, the scaling resets. So basically, anytime you get your other character out, or your partner character out, it resets. Anytime you do DHC, it resets. You can do certain moves to make it reset automatically. If you burst, it resets. If you broke, it resets. So yeah, there's all sorts of, in TVC anyways, there's all sorts of different ways to get the damage to reset, the scaling to reset. So I'm assuming that you're going to see a lot of the resets that were in TVC in Marvel 3.
If not more ways to reset it.
And you know what? I'm perfectly cool with that because, honestly, Marvel 2, I'm not a fan of infinites. I don't care if it dizzies out at 50 hits. It's still really fucking annoying, and it takes like 20 seconds on the ticker. So, I mean, for me, this is a great idea for them to prevent infinites and whatnot and allow better engagement. I mean, some people disagree with me on that, but in my opinion, I think that's a much better idea.
Okay, one thing we should talk about is what happens when you have a few pixels left on your health.
From what I've been told, there is pixel rage, and pixel rage is where you have, when you are on your quote unquote 0 pixel or 1 pixel, it takes a few extra hits to clear that pixel out. Unfortunately, I do not know a whole lot of what's going on with that, but that's from what it's been told early, and a lot of people are complaining about that because they do not like the concept of pixel rage at all. I agree with that, just on the fact that it is kind of a lame little comeback technique that's just there to try and help new players survive and keep their last character.
Make more dramatic comebacks.
Yeah,
And
I'm not a fan of it either.
I also thought that it was a pretty big factor in how so many matches went to timeout. People would get into big combos and then just not die, and you'd have to get into another good situation like that again in order to actually win.
Well, Seth was also mentioning that they're still working on the timer issue.
Right.
That time might be going a little too fast, or damage is just not being done enough. So
Right.
obviously that's something that they can tweak. I mean, after all, this game is only 55% done according to Seth, and we haven't even seen like anywhere between 1/3 to 1/5 of the characters that have been out. So I'm excited to see what comes in, up to 2 weeks from now when they go to Comic-Con and they're supposed to announce the storyline and possibly some new characters and may even have a newer build from there. So, and then on top of seeing what else is going on.
Also, Ski's fucking putting the game on blast in Capcom right now.
Oh yeah?
He's putting Marvel. He's not putting the game on blast. He's putting on people that are switching sides that were talking about that not everyone, there should not be a universal air dash in Marvel 3 when Marvel 2 one of the main gripes was that there was no universal air dash, and now that they actually put one in their game, now they're saying there should
It's not entirely universal, at the very least.
Yeah, I mean,
air dash.
I think with Universal Air Dash, I think that certain characters should still have it. Like Ryu, despite having movable, positionable Shinku Hadouken, should you have an Air Dash, because that really, like, him not having it almost brings him back to Marvel 2 status, where he was basically not very good at all. Ken was a much better in my opinion, Ken was a much better character in Marvel 2. But in Marvel 3, yeah, I mean, he in particular definitely needs an air dash. I mean, some of these other characters have mechanics to be able to get around not having it, but really, if there was any guy that really needed an air dash, it would be Ryu.
And I hope that they don't do the same kind of thing that they did in Marvel 2, where the Marvel characters, the Capcom characters didn't have these established ways to move around very, very quickly, and so they didn't translate very well into Marvel 2 kind of engine. And characters who could move around very quickly were the Marvel ones because they were given new moves and designed with the Marvel kind of system involved. So.
You know, you know what? I was just reading the chat, and one thing I just want to say, all the characters with an 8-way dash, where are they in the tier rankings of Marvel 2?
In Marvel 2?
Yeah, because I mean, I'm just making a point here.
Well, Magneto's S tier.
So, because even the lowest I could think of with an 8-way air dash is Doom, and even Doom is, you know, he's second
what about,
tier. You know,
doesn't Iron Man have 8-way air dash in
he's
Marvel
A
2?
tier. So, I mean, that's what I'm saying is that all the characters in Marvel 2 that 8-way dash, they're all at the very top. The ones that don't, you know, unless they got unless they can cover a lot of space like Cable can. You know, then
well, that's the thing. Cable has the tools to be able to get around. You know, he can just jump up and fierce punch everybody out of the air for 90% of the time. You know, air hyper viper beams and whatnot. But that's the thing with Marvel 2 that a lot of Marvel 2 fans neglect to admit or remember is that mobility is 95% of that game, and 90% of the characters don't have mobility worth shit. I mean, let's be honest. Especially your bigger guys like Juggernaut, Colossus, Hulk, Zangief, all those characters incredibly they have incredible power and do a lot of freaking damage, but they don't have the mobility to be able to beat half the cast because they just can't get up there and slug it out in the air.
I've seen him and Hulk doing 2 dashes in a row. His dash punch. I see him do it twice, one after the other. So that was really interesting. Although I guess that could be done.
Was that while he was under X Factor?
I don't think
because
so. Not that I remember. It could be, but I don't remember. But
you can cancel one move. You can cancel one move into the same move, even supers with X Factor.
He showed that in the exhibition. Now that I think about it, Deadpool did it a couple times.
Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty cool. That was pretty cool.
I mean, I don't know. I think just the people, as Ski's saying in Capcom chat, is the people who are hating on TVC3 are just basically, in my opinion, yeah, this is coming from the mod of TVC3 forums, is they're basically ignorant is the best word to say. I mean, really ridiculously ignorant, and they just want a TVC 2.5. And let's be honest, it's not going to happen. Period.
You know what? It happens every single game revision. People have bad memories. That's all I always say. When MVC2 when it came out, when it was only 4 buttons instead of the standard 6, people threw a fit. When they found out that Strider and Captain America, not Strider and Captain America and War Machine and Gambit, they were all nerfed. It was basically it was bloody murder. It was bloody murder, but no one ever talks about that now. So the people that are loudest, that are really making a loud noise about Marvel 3, they'll be the first ones to buy the game when it comes out. Because you know what, there ain't nothing else. Marvel 2 is done. It had its swan song yesterday.
Yeah, but let's be honest. When do Marvel people ever get the fucking hint? 2-man tournaments will forever reign for Marvel 2 regardless of what happens, so.
But it's one of those things where, people were talking about, man, this plays a lot like TVC. So what? So what? And even I have never played TVC, but I can even see the blatant misinformation. Oh man, you're going to be able to Mega Crush out of combos. There is no Mega Crush in Marvel 3.
Yeah.
It's stupid stuff like that. They're talking about the exchange functionality, but the exchange functionality is not actually breaking the combo. You're actually resetting the combo, and if you're getting hit, you have the chance to flip the script on them. Otherwise, you'll get reset yourself. And then the thing is, it's still beta. It's still beta. And like I said, instead of getting mad about it and all of that and popping off, why not just do what Mike Z did? Put it in a constructive format and say, hey, thank you for making Marvel 2. Here's what I would do to make the game better. I guess I'm asking too much.
Well, all right. So we move on to Super 4.
Yes.
You indeed. Alright.
All right. So I definitely think that this was the best tournament of yesterday. As much as I like Remix, and I don't know, Chindogg, as much as you like TVC, would you say that Super was better, or did you like TVC more?
I like TVC more, but Super was incredibly good for two reasons, in my opinion. One, Justin Wong was not in it. And that's not saying anything against Justin Wong. That's saying the fact that
It's made everything more interesting, I guess.
everything,
right.
yes, that everything has changed. And two, you saw people who have never been to the dance before actually make it. You did not see Marn or Flash Metroid or Arturo Sanchez or any of those guys who were supposed to, quote unquote, blocks for top 8. You saw guys like Geeve, Vance from NorthCal. You saw
Chizza.
You saw Gamer B. You saw SZA. You saw all these different
Henry Sen, Infiltration.
Henry
Right.
Sen to me was like the biggest surprise. I mean, that dude.
Oh, I totally agree.
That dude is. He was the biggest surprise behind Gamer B, just for the fact that I didn't know who the hell Gamer B was.
Yeah.
But just the fact that you had all generations and different iterations of Street Fighter come together in that top 8. You had Henry Sen, which was the old school. You had Diago, which was the established, and you had guys like Geeve and Gamer B, which were the new, the new blood, and SZA, and all the characters were different. I mean,
yeah, right.
My-
I mean, with
right,
I mean-
Honda, right? I mean, one thing that maybe something that bears pointing out, if you look at top 8 for this year's EVO for Street Fighter 4 versus last year, there is absolutely no one except Diago that have repeated in top 8. And what I think it says is that practice does make perfect, because most of the players that made it to top 8 this year were not even on the radar last year. And last year had 1,000 people or so. This year has 1,700. And yet so it was even a steeper mountain to climb. So, just like we talked about earlier about Justin, about not practicing and everything else, I really think that wasn't just Justin. I think there's a lot of people that have been slacking in Super 4, because of their, it happens. I mean, we're not convicting someone of a crime, but it just shows you, because, like, for example, someone like GamerBeat, who plays online, now, that really encourages me, because, Online Tony, I guess, is another, and Damn Die is probably the most famous that we know of, but people who have played online and are able to translate it over into a real life tournament,
exactly.
So I really, so if anything, all of the good Street Fighter 4 players should be put on notice, because, everyone thought there'd be a lot of repeat top 8s. And there was only one, and he was the winner.
And you also got to look at, with the established guys, not to put anybody on blast here, but guys like Arturo and Flash Metroid, they expected to be in top 8, and they came in saying, I'm going to be top 8 no matter what, and just did not deliver the goods. And what did you hear from them? Like, I don't know if you guys heard, I forgot who mentioned it, what Flash Metroid was saying on the way to the airport, where he was just basically going off on a huge tangent on how he was supposed to be top 8 and how he felt that he was entitled to that. But he lost, and he needs to just grow up and get over it and step his game up. Otherwise, he's going to get left behind and lose again and again and again.
And it wouldn't surprise me if that became more regular, too. I mean, you have to think, with a tournament that has 1,700 people in it for even one guy to make it all the way back is not surprising, but it's not surprising that only one person did it.
I mean, you got to look at it like to get to top of EVO, you have to win a 64-man major, and then you have to win another 64-man major on top of that. You know, your 64-man out of your pool, and then you got to win another 64-man out of your top 64, top 32. I forgot how it's set up. So you're actually facing 2 full-fledged tournaments back to back.
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, it's the same kind of thing as, you know, what happened with poker when the scene was smaller, like it was with EVO, you know, half a dozen years ago or whatever, or I guess even for the last dozen years. It wasn't surprising for somebody to have, you know, a repeat bracelet, or for, you know, somebody to win EVO a couple years in a row. But now that the scene has exploded, I think repeats are going to be much, much rarer.
I mean,
So,
I hear a cat.
that's my cat.
I think that.
Yeah. But,
So how about we go like through the matches, if you guys can remember them. So Diago played Mike Ross.
Yes.
And
Yes.
I thought that was a pretty dominating performance from Diago. Ross, I thought was pretty clearly at a loss. You could see he jumped way more often than he does against almost anybody.
Yeah,
And,
that lets you know that you was
that's
playing.
indicative of how little control he felt he had in the match.
I mean, Diago is Diago. He's not afraid to uppercut, and especially with a character like Honda that Mike Ross plays, you know, he's got the reaction time where he will just beat the crap out of every headbutt, anything that Ross would give him, he took, and that's just how it is, and that's how Diago plays. And I don't know if Ross just needs to pick a non-charge character or what, but I don't see him beating Diago ever, to be quite honest. I don't see anybody who plays a charge character ever beating Diago, just on the fact that you have to have that charge for long enough, and he's going to notice that charge is being established, and he's going to know when you're going to throw it out, and he's going to punish you for it.
Well, I don't think it's necessarily the charge issue. Like Justin did well with Balrog against him last year, or maybe it was even before EVO. I forget which tournament that was in, but I don't necessarily think it's. Yeah, okay. I don't necessarily think it's a charge issue. I think that Diago just made Mike Ross feel impatient. He wasn't doing stuff that he often does. He wasn't doing walk up, low jab, hands all the time. He did that against other players in the top 8. He did that against Gamerby a lot. But he just couldn't get that going against Diago.
Yeah. And then how much of that do you also think would be based on the Diago mystique? I mean, yes, Mike Ross is a top player. He's always been a top player and established, but this is Daigo Umehara. I mean, you know, he is the guy.
The tournament nerves thing.
Yeah, that affected him. That affected him because you clearly see him getting flustered. When you're flustered, you can't think, you can't formulate a plan, you can't adapt on the fly, you know. And that's probably the reason why Daigo has so much success in the United States, and in Japan he has success too, but it's not nearly as dominant in a lot of cases. You know, he could still lose tournaments and whatnot. It's because to him, to them, he's Daigo, you know, the guy down the street, you know, type of thing. You know, here he's considered probably the greatest Street Fighter player that ever lived.
Right.
You know, and
and that's just the starstruck mentality that a lot of people have when they face against a top player like Daigo or Justin, Alex Valle, John Choi, Mike Ross, you know, all these guys. I mean, even to a little bit of a lesser extent for guys like Ed Ma and whatnot. If you've been in the scene, you know who these guys are. And as Alex Valle constantly says in his Wednesday night fights, is he can get away with footsies because he's Alex Valle. You know, quote unquote stardom, celebrity status, or whatever you want to call it, will get you quite a ways there. And honestly, I think that's the only reason why Justin got as far as he did in Tatsunoko, just on the fact that guys had to play against Justin Wong and got shook.
And,
But that's just my opinion.
The only way, well, if the top players happen to listen to this episode, they probably won't. But if they listen, but no. There is one way of getting over that, and that is they gave us one big way, and that is to go to Evolution Japan.
Yes.
And you go there, you do it on their turf and whatnot, and what you need to do is you have to slowly deconstruct the image that that Diago has, the name, the image that comes up when you think of his name, when his name is said. You have to realize that he is a great Street Fighter player, but by no means invincible. So what they need to do, they need to see him losing to other people. You're like, well, man, this dude, what's his name? He just beat Doug. I mean, they really need to see it for themselves, and then they know mentally, oh, okay, so he can be beaten. So they stop looking at him like Neo from Matrix. All right, so I think that's a great opportunity there to go to Japan and everything, and I really do want to figure out, maybe for the update when he gets back on here, to figure out who's exactly going. I mean, I heard Sabin talking about earlier, so he may be going. So hopefully we'll get a good group going. I mean, this is a great opportunity.
Yes, it's incredibly exciting. But let's get back to the matches. What was the next one?
Well, so Gamer B played against Henry Sen. I don't think that we need to talk too much about that.
Yeah, we can talk about, it was like a different kind of starstruck for Sen. It's just like Gamer B was kind of building up his aura of not knowing Sen didn't know that matchup and he didn't know how to handle it. And
right.
Yeah.
You know what it reminds me of? It reminded me of Rocky 3, where Rocky Balboa, the established guy, goes up against Clubber Lang, and Clubber just beats the shit out of him, and Rocky has no clue of what's going on. That's exactly what it reminds me of.
Yeah, I mean, Gamer B was doing a lot of great option selecting on Sen's Wake Up. He was playing great guessing games, and Sen just couldn't adapt well.
Yeah, that's the thing, though. To me, I think that's what separates people like Diago than other great players. Most great players come in and they have an idea what they're going to do, and as long as everything goes according to script, they're fine. But when the wheels fall off the wagon, and what you came in to do, they ain't falling for it, then either you're gonna go say, okay, well, let's do this, or let's do that. It's like, or you're gonna say, okay, I'm done. And it felt like that with Henry when the typical tactics didn't work with Honda against Adon, and he was getting outguessed, and he was
right. He was out of it pretty much from the get-go.
Yeah,
he just started doing random butt splash in a row.
Yeah, he was out of it, definitely. So we also had Ricky Ortiz beating Van Geeve. I had heard before the match that Ricky was planning to go Chun-Li. My friend actually asked him about this, and when Ricky said that, my friend asked why Ricky wasn't going to go with somebody like Sagat, who presumably is even a worse match. Ricky said that's because he thinks Sagat Zangief is 5'5". I just thought that was funny to point out. No, but this was a great dominating footsie game from Ricky. Huge chunk of his damage was from roundhouse, far standing roundhouse and footsies. It's a match that I know that they've played a lot against each other, being from the same area. They play each other all the time. And it was just pretty much a domination, I would say.
It was a domination, but man, Vance, I tip my hat off to him, because when he lost that match versus Ricky, I think that it was more on the limitations of the character, not so much the player.
I fully agree.
Yeah,
Sean in Super probably beat Zangief. It was like a slight loss for her before, I would say. She was just terrible on Wake Up. Her mid game was always good, and now it's a little better. Her anti-airs are better. It's definitely a character issue, I would say.
Yeah, but
and
major props to man.
Mistake.
Yeah.
As Justin made the day before. Justin was not willing to switched away from Ruthless for a better matchup, and Ricky, being in top 8, did not want to take that same risk.
Now, while we're talking about this, since Ricky's brought up, and as much as awkward as this may sound, I do want to make this known, and I do want people to hear this. Ricky's personal choices are his alone, and it's nobody's fucking business to say what Ricky can and can't do and what Ricky wants to do. Ricky's a cool guy. He's a nice guy. I've met him on a couple occasions. He's a great fucking player, and he deserves as much respect as everybody else. Blasting him because he has a purse or whatever is not fucking cool at all. And if you really do say that to him or anything like that, I hope to God that Jaha's there so he can stomp your ass out. That's my opinion on it.
I totally agree.
You got to look at the maturity level of a lot of people, and you realize that, people will find anything, everything about you.
And I'll leave it at
it really goes back to the maturity. A lot of people, and it's something that really doesn't get discussed at all on SRK. But a lot of people out there that play video games, including fighting games, are not comfortable in their own skin for whatever reason. Whether it's because because of personal things that happened to them in their childhood, how they were treated and everything. And there is definitely a link between, people that have had these issues, and then they go on and they try to find fault in other people. That's their defense mechanism. And they go and try to find fault, and then, because somehow it makes maybe what they go through ain't so bad, And I'm not trying to put up a can of psychology.
To poke at the guy because they can't beat him. This is how it works.
Well, yeah, and some of it's envious too, because he is one of the best Street Fighter players in the country, and they feel that someone like him, they say, well, how can he, look at him, how can he be the best Street Fighter player in the country, and I don't, and I can't be, and whatnot, so yeah, there's envy, and there's jealousness too, and there's envy, but there are a lot of people that are not comfortable in their own skin. They have to. They have to do it as their defense mechanism. They got to make fun of somebody because, they don't feel comfortable with what they are.
Yeah, I'm sorry that this has to be a topic for a conversation, but you guys are totally right.
I didn't really want to feel like I didn't feel it was necessary to say this. Actually, I did, just on the fact that we're starting to advance to a degree where everybody's older, everybody's more mature and whatnot, and really, it doesn't matter. And it personally upset me just on the fact that because I've met Ricky, and Ricky's a very nice, gracious dude. Like I said, he's a little eccentric, but he has his personal choices, and so do we, and everybody should really respect that.
We're all eccentric.
Seriously.
We're all eccentric.
Yeah.
Anybody out there on the street will look at us and say there's something wrong with us. I mean, come on now. People would tell you, you play what? Street Fighter? I played that when I was 10. You still play that? How old are you now?
Gotta move on.
Come on, man.
It was kind of cool, actually, when I went to Chicago for Midwest Championship and got on the train. The conductor looked at my stick bag and wondered what it was. I told him the stick, and he told him it was a fighting stick, and he took a look at it. He goes, "So you're a professional gamer?" And I'm like, I guess so. I'm going in for a tournament for money, so I guess that means that I'm trying to get paid.
And then you pop your top. Okay.
It's just
then
like,
I go 0-2, but nonetheless.
It's like when we look down on people, like, man, look at those nerds playing chess. So dang, look at those people. We're really no different. So.
Yeah, I didn't mean that you were wrong to bring it up. I'm sorry that we have to, make people realize that some of what they say about him and other people in the scene is stupid. That they shouldn't do it.
Well, at least, but you know what? The crowd was behind Ricky, though.
He deserves all that hate.
All right.
But they were behind. But they were behind Ricky, though. I mean, the crowd was behind Ricky, and that was good to see. And that was, so gave a nice home field advantage for Ricky. I mean, it didn't work out like we wanted to, but still, it was fun to watch.
Spoiler.
Yeah, spoiler. So then in one of the first matches as well was Infiltration, who beat Shiza. I was sorry to see this. I was really rooting for Shiza being a SoCal homer, but Infiltration played a really interesting style. Great rush down and traps and some risky business. I like that he went for throws often. So even though the guy I was rooting for lost, I had a really fun time watching this.
Infiltration
like always switches style, like depending on the opponent, more than most people do. It was really weird.
I think
But
that matchup against Shiza that he played was probably the best that Infiltration has played all weekend, if not ever, to be quite honest. I mean, he was on point with everything, and he caught Shiza every single time.
Yeah, I think Shiza was he played great. I mean, to get to that point again, I mean, we don't need to go over that again, beating a dead horse.
What he did.
To get to that point.
Hey, all that.
But you can tell though at that point there was a definitely gap in skill. Whether I don't know if that skill was in the character or the,
I would say more tournament experience.
I was saying in the character or the experience in a high pressure situation or combination of both. But
tournament experience.
Right, because we saw that Infiltration was like he was motionless. He didn't have much of expression. He was playing as if he was playing on Xbox Live. I mean, in other words, I didn't see any nerves on him or anything, and so I mean, he had nerves of steel. So I give him props for that. Because actually, I wanted him to fake Gamer B. I wanted that to be the losers finals. I don't
think he had nerves because he doesn't care about these people. Like he doesn't give a damn about people not liking or being disappointed with his performance because he's never going to talk to these people. He's not involved in this particular region of the scene. He doesn't give a shit. He's here to kick your ass and leave. So I think that
and
does
pretty
cause
much did with
issues.
Shiza.
Yeah, which is I think Shiza will come back next year even stronger.
Yeah, because he has experience now. That's the good thing. I mean, and it's something that my mom always told me. Son, you will learn more from losing than you will from winning. So I mean, you gotta, I mean, Rome was not built in a day. So
and Shiza has crazy work ethic. Like after Wednesday night fights, I'll oftentimes ask him what he's gonna do, and he says, "Oh, I'm gonna go hang out with some other friends, play Street Fighter with some other guys." Be playing until whatever, sometime in the morning. So how did he get good in a year? He grinded it out against good players.
That's why he made top 8 and Justin Wong didn't.
Right.
That's what it boils down to, and that's why I kept on saying the top 8. No one carried over from last year, and that is the reason I think was the work ethic issue, because they just left.
On a side note, does anybody think it's really funny that 2 pad players got a gold TE stick?
Yeah, I bought the pad stick.
You'd think that Mark Van would have made some kind of gold pad for them or something like that, but I guess it's a nice trophy to have. So
yep.
eBay.
So speaking of Infiltration, next round he played against Van Geeve.
He played immediately after, didn't he?
Yeah, he played Van Geeve right after that.
Oh, he yanked the hell.
Yanked it. Oh, that was a just complete destruction. I felt really bad for Van Geeve
against Geeve.
Exactly.
It was literally
that Akuma wants to run away, but I loved how Infiltration started the first game. He just started running at Van Geeve, had a knockdown instantly, had Van Geeve in the corner immediately, and was already pulling Vortex shenanigans on Geeve 5 seconds in.
Yeah, seriously, like I said, was talking about yesterday. He literally had like the glow from the Last Dragon going. Everything he did was right, and God, poor Vance, he got lit up so bad.
There's nothing that was just running into the wrong person at the wrong fucking
exactly.
time.
I mean, he was Infiltration was just feeling himself, and that was it. And
then he stuck. That was it.
There's
this
really
is an issue that you run into as Zangief. I was stoked to see a Zangief get top 8, but in top 8, you got good characters, and Zangief was a good character in vanilla, and he was nerfed significantly. He's not a bad character now, but he, I think, really cannot deal with a good chunk of characters in this cast. And you saw it; he lost in 2 bad matchups in top 8.
Yeah, so if not, we'll get to the matches, but maybe I should mention something here that has been talked about since Super first got announced that for 35 characters, that maybe it's not a good idea to run into a tournament with only one character, because you draw the short end of the shortest straw, and then you'll run into a really, really good
someone who counterpick you if you're a single person.
Right, not purposely, but you just happen to run into someone that's a specialist with a character that kind of picks yours. So,
I think that's that's actually a pretty good segue, because I think that's what happened to Gamer-B against Ross.
In Mike Ross versus Gamer-B, yeah.
Yeah. Not only that, I think Mike Ross did like a partial download of his antics. He didn't have the whole thing. He was still really lost in some stuff. It was a very odd. That was a really odd match in terms of what's wrong here, play control, I guess would be what I'm looking for. Because like it seemed there would be long stretches where Ross just didn't know how to handle it, and then he would switch on and then switch off again, and like it kind of.
It was a very strange match, to say the least, and I think for Gamer-B it was more Gamer-B's to lose than it was Mike Ross's to win, because Ross, to be quite honest, looked really lost fighting Gamer-B, and Gamer-B screwed up a couple times, and Ross took full advantage of it. And that's, honestly, in my opinion, that's what cost him. But props to Gamer-B. I mean, Gamer-B has, unfortunately, I have to use a Serlin quote, but the dude has a Yomi level of infinity. I mean, the dude can read everything, and he just
everything
killed.
And everybody. It's
I mean, when he faced Ross in that one game, he was seriously rising jaguaring every single headbutt.
5 in a row?
Yeah, 5 straight rising jaguars, and he would land, and then Ross would try to do something.
Like, I know what you're gonna do. You're just gonna do this. You can do this.
Let me ask you guys a question. There's a lot of people. Of course, after Gamer-B beat Justin on Saturday, the forums blew up on SRK for the Don section. But there's a lot of people who said something very over and over again. They're saying that once people figure out Adon, that he won't be able to be very much use. So let me ask you guys a question. Do you think that's true? Do you think that someone like Gamer-B, who's really, really, really gifted, do you think that will he become another Zangief, that he eventually people are going to figure it out, and he won't be able to, that the character's limitations will come into play, and he may not be able to go, to the top, to the very top?
I totally disagree with that.
Art says that he figured him out. Art says that he downloaded him after playing so many money matches against him. But
Art says a lot of things.
Yeah, he also said that he lost money in the long run. So I would take that with a grain of salt. I don't think anyone's really ever going to get a full download on Gamer-B, no matter what.
Not so much on Gamer-B. I was actually talking more about the character. Where
I don't think the character matters. I think it's Gamer-B that matters.
So you think that he won't run up? It won't be a situation like with a Zangief where you just simply your character limitations are too much to overcome.
When it comes to character limitations in general, especially for Adon, we have just saw the beginning of what Adon can do. I mean, his options are way too early to say. And it's way too early to say. It's like Hakan. Like, look at all the stuff that UltraDavid has pulled. I mean, all that stuff. Look at what that random Hakan was doing to, was it Infiltration or Laugh?
Laugh he was playing against, yeah.
Hey, he was lighting Laugh up for free, and that was just a tip of what some of these new characters can do. It's just that everybody is in the mindset of tier whoring and thinks, well, this guy can do this guy can do that. But And because of that, nobody actually plays it. I mean, who the hell would have thought that Guile was going to be a good character, with the exception of Guile players? I mean, if it wasn't for guys like Jiley who are just stubborn and play Guile no matter what game it is, we would never know how good Guile would be.
Oh yeah. Speaking of that,
By the way, Sabin says something interesting. He says that he blew up Gamer B to the point where he didn't want to play high stakes and switch characters on him.
I don't buy that for one fucking second.
I don't buy it for a second either. He's full of crap. He's full of crap on that for certain.
I like Arturo. I think Arturo's a great player, but he runs his mouth too much. He's not to put anybody on blast again, but a lot of those kids out of the East Coast, God, they talk so much, and then when they get blown up, excuses. So step your game up, East Coast. That's all I got to say about that.
Jiley, I just realized who he was talking
I think
about.
he said that because I think he said that because Gamerbee's not really going to respond to that. He doesn't care. He's going to go back, and they won't really play until the next big tournament. Like, he's not going to come down for like mid-majors, that kind of thing. It'd be nice if he did, but he's not. He's going to show up probably for next EVO, and that's pretty much it. It's probably going to be a lot worse because he's going to have more tricks in his bag, and Art's going to get pissed. He's going to throw his stick when he loses. Guaranteed.
No, it's going to be more along the lines of, this character is brain dead, you should be doing this. It's going to be listening to him bitch like he did for Abel, like, for what, 2 straight months before EVO, and then there was no Abels in top 32. Well, actually, no, there was Juicebox, but he got waxed out fast.
In top 12, I think there were no Abels. It was something like that.
Yeah, something like that. But still, stop bitching. Just suck it up and learn how to play.
Or in top 16, I guess. I just checked the results.
Yeah, okay.
So then we had Diago playing against Ricky in their first set. Diago obviously winning 2-1. What do you guys think about this?
Ricky's error was celebrating after he won the first game. That kind of switched something on in Diago. And he's like, no, I'm not playing.
I don't know. I think Ricky made the same mistake that Justin makes. He stuck with Rufus, and Diago knows Rufus, and Diago stomps out everything Rufus does. Diago dominates Rufus for free.
I agree with that, because even when Diago beat him in the GameStop, and Justin came on and said, because he says Ryu's a natural counter to Rufus, and I was like, okay, so I was and obviously, and Justin was right, because when I was looking back at that, I'm like, yeah, man. I mean, if you psychic like Diago is with the dragon punches, man, and got the reaction, it's very hard for Rufus to get in. And of course, in the finals last year, he switched to Rog and almost pulled it off.
Well, I actually have to disagree. I think that, definitely in the original, Ryu beat Rufus, but I think it's pretty even now with Rufus's Ultra 2. I think is the big equalizer. If you noticed, Diago almost never threw fireballs from outside of like a third of a screen range, where it was really hard to react to. But even when he did once, Ricky got an EX fireball to take one of the rounds that was like instant, like just exactly on reaction, and that was something that Rufus couldn't do before. So I really think that was good.
Another thing I noticed about what happened is Ricky had Diago on the ropes for several rounds, and all he had to do was literally throw Ultra 2 and just chip it out.
I don't know why he didn't do that.
He became incredibly timid. And I think this all comes back down to, he hasn't been in this position in quite some time, and he's facing a guy who hasn't lost in the last three EVOs so far. So,
well, I wouldn't put in jitters on a guy like Ricky, who's been a top player for so long, not just in Super or in 4.
Well, I'm not really saying jitters. I'm just saying he gave Diago too much respect. That's what I'm saying.
I think he was too cautious, and he should have just hurled it out. Even if it's a close match, that's your best bet, especially with that Super. They hit on both sides. So
That's why I wanted to see. That's why I wanted to see Gamer B versus Diago, because I would felt like that
Balls out.
Gamer B would not have respected Diago, even despite
Gamer B would not give a fuck.
he would not have, and either Diago would have crushed him, or we would see the greatest comeback ever in the history of Street
Because
Fighter.
Diago put him in losers if memory serves.
Right,
Yes.
so either
Yes.
either one of those things happen, but we'll still see some fun rounds, and it was just because that's why I wanted to see that. I wanted to see, so maybe we'll see it in Evolution. Well, it's just too early to say, but man,
I kind of wish we could have seen Infiltration versus Diago too. That would have been.
Oh yeah, that would have been nice too. That would have been nice too.
Infiltration
Although
definitely would not have given. I don't think he really respects anyone. So
it'd be interesting though, because I really would have liked to see that match as well, because Ryu Akuma, that's 5-5. I mean, is that really pretty much even between the two of them? So
I don't know. I don't believe in tier lists, so
I mean,
Yeah, it's
what I'm
pretty
saying
even.
is neither one of the characters have a significant advantage over the other.
Right.
And I was like, and it really was just whoever has the best footings and all. I would like to see that, and I mean, I would have been happy with that as a finals too, but
Yeah, I agree that in this set, Ricky took a little bit more of a hands-off approach than I think he should have. Like maybe he gave Diago too much respect. Although I don't think that was his issue in the grand finals, but we'll get to that in a little bit. So then we had Infiltration. He eliminated Mike Ross. 2-0.
That was Infiltration get still on his train. Like nothing was gonna stop him at that point in time. I don't think.
Yeah, he was looking really, really nice in that match. He had a lot of safe setups. He used the air fireballs really well, I thought. And yeah, I just thought it was a really well played match.
I've got nothing more to say about Infiltration. I mean, no respect for anybody, and yeah, he was just feeling himself. And if he had started doing that earlier, he might have been in Daigo's position right now. But
well, speaking of not, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was just gonna say, speaking of not having anything more to say about Infiltration, then we have Ricky Ortiz beating Infiltration.
Yeah, Ricky was like. That was surprising to me because considering all the momentum that Infiltration had, I didn't expect
the pendulum came,
that.
And you know what? It's the same thing that I just said about Infiltration. A light switch came on inside of Ricky and barreled right through Infiltration. Everything Infiltration had, Ricky had something to counter for it. And it's just that time where you get the glow, ultra activates inside of you something, where some little spark kicks and you go and you just ride it out as long as you can. And unfortunately for Infiltration, his spark had died when Ricky's flame just blew.
Yeah, Ricky Ortiz looked really good there, especially towards the end. Very well played.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well then we have the grand finals. Diago beating Ricky. Earlier in the previous set, you guys pointed out that Ricky, I should say, was kind of being a little too cautious, but I don't think that he did that here, actually. Diago was playing a really risky style. There was lots of dragon punches, way more than you usually see out of a Ryu player against Rufus. And I would have expected Ricky to stop pressuring with dive kicks and mix-ups and throws and stuff, but he really didn't. He consistently went for dive kick. He consistently went for the short into spin combo, and he went for throws a lot. And yeah, I mean, I obviously he didn't guess right in as many mix-ups as he needed to. Diago took it out, but I don't think that part of his game was why he lost.
Can I mention something though? We would have been talking about that Ryu has some nerfs, but I guess one buff that I saw on Ryu that made him a more of a pain for Rufus is that now that his medium and his fierce dragon punch hits twice, means that you can't really focus You can.
That's true.
You can't focus his uppercuts. So whereas you could in vanilla because it wasn't armor breaking. So
Yep.
I mean, so that definitely something I saw. I mean, that was one of the things I kind of noticed is that there wasn't that many focuses that of attacks. I mean, only on fireballs that shot at you shot at Ricky point blank that he actually focused. But like in close quarters, I really didn't see that. So because I mean, I don't know.
Hey, Bunk, we lost you there. Could you say that again?
No, I'm just saying, just tripping over my own words as usual. But I was just saying that was one thing I didn't see, and in close quarters. Only when Diago shot fireballs, directly at Ricky did Ricky focus, do any focus cancels.
Right. Yeah. I about fireballs. Ricky definitely could have used Ultra 2 here a little bit better than he did. I noticed that there were a few fireballs Diago threw from half screen or more that Ricky could have punished easily with Ultra 2, but I think he just wasn't looking for it at that time. Diago, I guess, knew or suspected that Ricky had just stopped looking for fireballs and felt that he could throw out a few, and he did.
That's what good players do. I mean, if you can't, hey. If you can't adapt, I just keep on doing the same thing over and over to you until you die. So.
Yeah. It was played very up close, this match. An interesting thing about Ultra 2 for Rufus, I think, is that it leads to Ryu not wanting to play a keep away game because he really can't. If Rufus has U2 stored, he can't be throwing fireballs all the time. So. It was played very up close, or mostly about mix-ups and reacting to dive kicks with dragon punches. And Diago definitely had the better of Ricky on that end.
Yeah,
any thoughts about that?
I would agree.
Okay.
And this is where maybe having the game only for 10 weeks might come into effect because you're still thinking vanilla Rufus because Rufus hasn't changed much from vanilla through to super. So you're still thinking of playing Rufus like vanilla Rufus instead of playing him like super, with the Ultra 2, and so it's going to be
right.
An adjustment for players.
Yeah, and Diago I think has already made that adjustment, not just with how to deal with Rufus Ultra 2. But another one of the changes that Rufus has that rarely gets talked about is that his EX Messiah kick actually moves forward more now, so it has a greater likelihood of going over the opponent. Even when
that happened a couple times.
It happened a couple times. And people still are not really looking out for it, and it often goes unpunished. But Diago immediately had the Hurricane kick counter to that. It was immediate knockdown into, most of the way towards the corner into meaty pressure game for Ryu. So. Yeah, Daigo's already adapting really well to Super.
Yeah, because you know what, really, if anything, you guys have seen the number of videos of Japanese players playing Super, and you're going, holy cripes, they're playing the mess out this game. I mean, and Diago has been, this is the reason why he won. It's not just because he's Diago, because he's been seriously leveling up. He's been playing, these first attempts that he's doing, and all. It's one of those things where that some people are just saying, "Oh, that's just Diago." No, that's not just Diago. He leveled up. He practiced a lot, and he said so in the interviews. He's been practicing a lot, and he's gotten the people around Japan in his circle of friends gotten into playing it a lot too, and. So he came prepared. He wasn't saying, I'm just gonna slack off and then we'll see what happens at Evolution. Heck no. He went and he practiced hard, and he
got his fight money.
And so that's a heads up for everybody else. Do the same thing. And we got a chance to prove it. It's not over yet. I keep on saying that. We got 10 weeks, and we got Evolution Japan. So, this is a great time for some revenge training.
Well, good stuff to Ricky for taking second place, repping the USA well. If not for him, it would have been the top two would have been non-US players, and I was glad to see that he did beat Infiltration, and he at one point looked like he was going to start doing really well against Diago. I think it was the second game. Both of the rounds in that game were won by Diago, but both of them, I think these are the rounds you guys were talking about earlier, where Ricky had a free Ultra 2 chip punish to kill Diago, and he didn't do it. Yeah, he got Diago far away, so that Diago couldn't really counter with anything, and he didn't do it there. And he also did it when he was up close. He did a dive kick, and then I think went for mix-ups instead of just going for the U2 for the kill.
You know what? I'm one of those people where if I was a top player, I wouldn't go with so many mix-ups against Diago, because I think that when you have someone where they're good at guessing and reacting, if he gives you the opportunity to come in, you go in for damage. You know, because you know you're not going to get a whole lot of opportunities, and his mix-ups is fine when you think you figure out your opponent and you got him on the ropes mentally. But if that's not happening, then you go in for the damage, you know, especially.
Hey, but that's the character, you know. That's Rufus. You have to try to guess as Rufus. He's all about capitalizing on mix-ups, and if you're not going to play a mix-up game as Rufus, I mean, there's really no point in playing that character. So I liked actually that he, I really like that he played mix-ups. I really like that he didn't let Diago dismay him from doing that stuff. I mean, yeah, he could have gone with somebody like Chun to play, you know, more cautious game, more footsie-based game. But I guess he thinks that Rufus is his best bet there, and he didn't do badly. I mean, I don't think that he did badly. I just think that he made a couple mistakes, and you know.
I'm really surprised that Ricky did not once play Dudley at all. Like, his Dudley isn't that bad, actually. I mean, Dudley is not a terrible character. He's middle tier, and he can do pretty well against Shotos. So I don't know. I figured he would have brought something else out, and maybe that would have been exactly what he would have needed to have somebody have something that Daigo's not familiar with.
Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't mind. I saw some really good Dudley play that inspired Marn against Diago, and you know, he wrecked Diago. That was not even close.
Yeah, and if you recall, Marn picked Dudley against Bae's Ryu, and I believe it was Devastation. Yeah. And Marn did really well. So maybe a potential good matchup there. I'm not sure. But no, I think that Ricky made a good decision in staying with his main character. Against the best player in the world, I think you really want to play to your strengths, and I think he did that.
At the same time, Daigo has just had that matchup so many different times. I mean, against Justin and against everybody else.
True.
He already knows what's coming, so I would have thrown the curveball, but that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I would have thrown the curveball too, because it's going back to what I said earlier. You know, maybe it's not a great idea to go into a tournament with just one character if your intent is to win the tournament, because at some point during the tournament you're going to bump into a specialist who has a counter, and what are you going to do then? You know, you can keep on playing with your main and just hope that you can just simply outplay them, but when you're in the top 8 or top 16, top 32 or 1700 man tournament, the odds of that happening becomes increasingly slimmer and slimmer. You know, you're gonna meet people. They're not gonna make those mistakes, the obvious mistakes that got you there. So, I don't know.
Well,
is there anything else we need to discuss?
All right. Oh. Yeah, I think that covers the actual matches pretty well.
What do you guys want to talk about next, or are we set?
You guys can keep talking. I'm gonna get to sleep. Thanks for chatting about this. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, we could call it for now. I mean, we could have another discussion later. I think that would probably work out.
All right. Well, hey, thank you guys for joining me tonight, and thank you guys out there for listening. We'll try to, we'll try to get this episode up for you guys to download, and hopefully, Ski will be back here pretty soon. It's been nice to reprise my role as a host for a few days, and I've had a lot of fun. Excuse me. Hiccup. Had a lot of fun. So again, thank you, David. Thank you, Chen. Thank you, Bronson, and everyone for joining me. And have a good night.
Night, everyone.